where we draw the line. If any of you YouTubers, content creators, showrunners, whatever, have taken any content from my YouTube channel and went and put it on your channel, you've got 24 hours. I will be striking down every page that have done copyright infringement. That's right. How do we make this right, they say, Charisse? Well, maybe we can share revenue on content that I own. And that's only if I, think it's reasonable. How do we make this right, Charisse? Maybe we don't include any of your content from your page and we talk about it, and then everybody just comes by my page and sees what you're talking about. That could be it too. But no more stealing my content. No more of none of that. Okay? Y'all want to talk all this crap.
All my niggas from the hooters. All my niggas turn shooters. All my ops turn racks. All my niggas turn shooters. On the internet, you ain't been you been stuck in a computer.
You already know the vibes. You already know the vibes. We back with another one when it ain't no other ones. Listen, y'all. Big U indicted on Rollin 60s RICO. We got Luce Cannon and Bricc baby free. I don't know. Some people talking about they telling. I don't know, man. The YouTube streets is crazy. Then we got Bricc. Listen, we got Bricc baby self-snitching. Okay, listen, man. It don't take no rocket scientist to find this, man. We got the paperwork, bruh. Around the time of the lick, he running around going on shopping sprees, y'all.
Oh, no, you can't be serious. That is some bullshit right there.
Shopping sprees. I know y'all heard the 50 Cent song. He going on shopping sprees, bro. It's crazy. And then we got CUFFY GATLING case. We are going to go into a case read of CUFFY GATLING. We're still going to finish out the waiver of indictment plea because a lot of people are talking about CUFFY GATLING's snitching and all of this. He's saying big me snitch, he snitch, all this. Listen, well, that's how come we're going to get right to the read, because we're going to go exactly into CUFFY GATLING's plea and exactly what he pled, how he pled, and what was the deal that he got. Point blank, period. And when we understand the CUFFY case, I make a lot of connections between CUFFY and his Big U case, because why? CUFFY was in some of the same thing. He was in this RICO case. He got hit with Title III warrants, affidavit orders from the rat, the main rat, the CS1, Tammy, who is Dale Morrison, is the main rat in this thing. Besides anybody else that's ratting, he's a main rat. He's victim number one. You know what I'm saying? So, and they got other confidential witnesses as well in this whole case, right? Some people on the inside, some people on the outs. You already know the vibe. So we got to get into all of that. So it's everybody. We got to get back into this stuff. First of all, we hear that Big Baby and Luce Cannon supposed to be getting free, supposedly. But what I will say, let me just play a sound effect for that. The way the paperwork looking, I don't know, but you know what? Free everybody when they need to be freed. But guess what though? We got to get into this first, because Charisse has said, listen, man, I cannot use my content. I don't want nobody using my content. And there's going to be repercussions for people that's using their content, especially people that's probably, attacking people or whatever the case may be. So I do want to finish out just to hear what Charisse was saying. And then we're going to get into Bricc baby self-snitching. We're going to get into some more of the Big U RICO case as well. And then we're going to go into that case read. I'm going to read the full pages case read of the CUFFY GATLING so we can just get that out the way. You know what I mean? I don't like to get back to things and all that. There's a lot of things going on. So salute to all of y'all. Let's get back to what's on here.
Showrunners, whatever. If any of you YouTubers, content creators, showrunners, whatever, have taken any content from my YouTube channel and went and put it on your channel, you've got 24 hours. I will be striking down every page that have done copyright infringement. That's right. How do we make this right, they say, Charisse? Well, maybe we can share revenue on content that I own. And that's only if
everybody hit the poll.
It's reasonable. How do we make this right, Charisse? Maybe we don't include any of your content from your page and we talk about it, and then everybody just comes by my page and sees what you're talking about. That could be it too. But no more stealing my content. No more of none of that. Okay? Y'all want to talk all this crap about things we're posting and the videos we're making, but you go and make the same videos. I see what y'all do. I see it. So if I didn't post content talking about it, how would you be paying your bills? Think about it. So now we're going to be business partners at this point. If not, you're going to just have to hush. You're just going to have to hush. No more Luce Cannon.
Hush.
No more Bricc
Hush.
Baby. No more none of that. No more. All the content is going to funnel through my channel. So I just hired a media team, and they got hundreds of links of violations. All it takes is 3 strikes and you're out on YouTube. 3 strikes and you're out. Imagine you wake up in the morning and poof, your source of income is gone. Ah, boy. Y'all better hit up my assistant. The email is cutthecontent@gmail.com. Cutthecontent@gmail.com. I don't see none of y'all saying go purchase a t-shirt for itslucecannon.com. I don't see none of y'all supporting. So now y'all really gonna support.
Man, once again, there, homie.
He's right there, man. Salute. We're gonna get back to the Bricks. But yo, listen though. Think about this though now. Whew. You know what I mean? She's saying that she don't want nobody using her content. Okay. We understand some people talking about that's a play. I don't think that's a play at all. I think she's dead serious about people using the content. You know what I mean? And she can start striking people. You know what I mean? Ain't like she's some street guy. She can start striking people. She can start striking people. When you're a guy and you run around striking on the YouTube street, that's called YouTube snitching. So you need to stop. But she's a woman. But listen, though, but just think about if she actually does this. So many people, countless people have so many videos of Luce Cannon on their channel, especially right now, at least during this, if it wasn't for the no jumper time. Think about this. If she was to start striking channels, it'll be going up. A lot of people will lose their channel. So some people acting like they're not taking with a fair warning or not. I heard Alex Alonso. He's like, yo, he's doubling down. Alex Alonso is doubling down, bro. He's like, nah, listen, I'm keeping all my content up. I don't care. And Alex Alonso went as far to said he reaching out to people if she or they strike your channel, do anything with your channel, he's gonna give you resources and people that's gonna help you. Yo, that's great. Said that. You know what I'm saying? He's even said that. So we understand that this is a serious thing. And you know what I mean, if you're a content creator, you know what I mean, just be careful out here. You know what I mean? Because it's real. And at the end of the day, it's people's intellectual property, regardless of what we want to think, regardless of what. But you know, there's fair uses and the ways you could do things. It may come into how your commentary is going on the video. You know what I mean? Because if you're saying certain kind of things on the said video, because if you're using fair use, it's fair use. But if you're also attacking a person at the same time, that may, you know what I'm saying, that goes against some of the fair use clauses as well. You see what I'm saying? So don't just listen to people that saying, yo, just do you, it's fair use, fair use. Yeah, it's fair use. But if you're doing certain things in a certain way, maybe from now on, you might think how you cover it. Because if you're saying certain things, they can say, nope, that's hate. Nope, you're doing this, you're doing that, you're bullying. Don't matter. And you're using my stuff. Bang, bang, bang. So you might have to think about that. You know what I mean? So salute to everybody for the building, guys. Welcome to and listen to me, y'all. We got to get into so much things. There's a lot to get into. All right. We are gonna get back to that Bricc. I mean, to that B Brace. Shout out to the homie B Brace. You know what I mean? I'm glad to see the brother back doing his thing. You know what I mean? But we got to get in the first. We got to get in the Bricc. We got to get in the Bricc, baby. We got to get in the Bricc, baby. I got to play a quick link for just to understand, because at the end of the day, this is what we must understand. Listen to me. At the end of the day, okay, when you go to the paperwork and you understand what happened with Bricc Baby, how Bricc Baby basically got away scotch-free with the lick, allegedly. Let's keep it spades with each other. Bricc Baby allegedly got away with the lick. I want everybody to drop a like and everybody to hit that poll. But yo, look, Bricc Baby got away with the lick, allegedly. Boom. In the paperwork, though, it says, look, Big U is basically the reason why he got into the paperwork. Big U is basically the reason why he got into the RICO. Because after he caught the lick, allegedly, Big U they get the contact with Frederick Blanton Jr. And they like, yo, Bricc hit a lick. Yo, bro, he made a guy hit the plug and then they booked him. Word, son. So then now Big U like, yo, what? Now we gonna get him for all that. You know what I'm saying? Half of it. No, he says half. I'm taking half of whatever he took. Period. So this is what leads them to end the phone calls and the intercepted phone calls and text messages between Henley and Mitchell, which is Bricc Baby, and Henley, which is Big U. You know what I mean? So this is how he basically walked them into the RICO, bro. Like Bricc Baby was basically tripped and fell into a RICO, bro. Because regardless of what he was doing before, that ain't make it in this. But we also know that Bricc Baby did have a case before with the mop case, the AK case, and we can't find his paperwork. You know what I mean? You think you can find it, but it's all sealed up. You can't see the parts that you want to see. So to find Bricc Baby's real paperwork, bro, you're gonna have to be the greatest Where's Waldo player in the history of Where's Waldo. You're gonna have to know Carmen Sandiego, Sherlock Holmes, one of them private eyes from back in the day with the monocle. Bugging, yes, I think I spotted them. Yeah, you need somebody with the monocle. You ain't seen a person with a monocle in years. That's what I'm trying to show you. That's the kind of people you need to find Bricc Baby paperwork, and that is.
Oh no, you can't be serious. That is some bullshit right there.
That's some bullshit, but it is what it is. So look, now we're gonna get into this video. We're just gonna get a quick breakdown of what the hell's going on, right? Because at the end of the day, in the same paperwork, which I'm gonna break down, it's on November 21, right? Is the date, all right, of when they're alleging that Bricc Baby is in this said thing, all right. But yet he's on social media. First of all, he's got lyrics and songs that he's rapping around the time. These people are going to pick this up. They're going to go there. It's not me going to do this. So I'm not doing the police shit. That's basic, bro. They go into the time dates and all that. They're going to go to your socials, bro, and see what you were doing around the time period, bro. And this wasn't even no big look for me. I just went to just see what the hell's going on around the time. Not only one, you rapping about hitting licks and running off with the plug, one. Then you in pictures in the Burberry store looking like you're going on shopping sprees. Then, and you thanking whatever you just did for it in the captions. And then besides that, you got videos, you gonna link it with some homies and all like y'all going shopping. Bro, anywhere around the date when you do some hotness, something hot, you want to lick, you want to move, bro, you don't want to post nothing, bro. You don't want to post nothing to social media. Have you never seen Goodfellas or nothing? No movie, bro. What happened in Goodfellas? Remember Robert De Niro? Remember the fat guy and all them? Remember they started buying shit after the Lufthansa heist? Remember they caught the big heist in Goodfellas? Right? Remember after the heist, he said, don't buy nothing. Remember Robert De Niro told them, don't buy no car, don't buy nothing. You don't want the flash on you. Don't buy nothing. So much so, Robert De Niro started ending up clipping people. Remember he clipped the man and his wife in the car, the same car that they bought. He said he bought her for her birthday. Because you cannot start showing stuff, bro. That's like Frank Lucas and the Mink, bro. You gotta chill after you do a thing, allegedly. So look, we're gonna get into this, and I just want to see what the hell happened, y'all. Look at this.
With the million bricks. I didn't run off on the plug, hit a million licks. I ain't got but not with the plug with the million bricks. I didn't run off on the plug, hit a million licks. I ain't got.
What's good, Go Gang? Uda here, and you know we on Go. Listen, man, Bricc Baby and Luce Cannon is an MDC. Heard they got into a little scuffle, man, but it's crazy is how they even end up in the same cell in the first place. Is the cell bugged? A lot of people asking that question, man. But look, man, we know that Bricc Baby had another case as well. It was an AK case, I heard. But to find that paperwork, you got to be the greatest Where's Waldo player in the world. Or you got to know Carmen Sandiego. But listen, man, let's get into this paperwork read real quick and just see exactly how Bricc Baby was getting extorted and how Big U is the one that actually put him in a RICO. Listen, man. Overt Act number 43. On November 11, 2022, on an intercepted call, defendant Henley and Big U Enterprise members, self-proclaimed Rollin 60 member Zaire Mitchell, a.k.a. Bricc Baby, coordinated how Mitchell would give defendant Henley the proceeds from a robbery that Mitchell committed. Now, on November 11, 2022, and intercepted calls and text messages while defendant Henley talked with Big U Enterprise Associates Frederick Blanton Jr. and defendant Robinson to help defendant Henley collect money from Mitchell's associate. And Blanton said, yo, they robbed a nigga for some ish. Yo, they made a call his plug and then they booked him, which defendant Henley said that I'm going to grab half of whatever they took from him. And then I'm going to give it to Vay, and Vay bring the rest of you. On November 11, 2022, an intercepted call with defendant Henley can be heard counting stacks of money, counting it, saying that it ain't nothing but 2 racks or 3 racks here. And to which Blanton responds, yo, Bricc said it's supposed to be between 5 or 7, man. Gotta call out the Bricc, man. Was he touching the money? Who was touching that money, man? Man, everything for the content, man. What's crazy is not only he rapping about catching licks at the time, he on shopping sprees in Burbank with his peeps.
They go for it, they had to stop.
We all saw it. You all saw it. You see it going crazy. You see it going.
This ain't self-snitching, man. I don't know what is, man. But you know, it's all for the content. This is a content RICO, man. You already heard Bricc live from the feds. Yo, they think this is a game, man. He is in a RICO. All they got to prove is your little role and you're done. This is what this thing is about, man. I need y'all in the comments. Tell me what y'all think about Bricc Baby, self-snitching. What's going on? What you think about the whole Loose Cannon Bricc Baby? That was a play, right? Or did they run into Big U? No funny between me and you. I heard when Big U in the building behind the wall, I heard they don't even call him Big U. They call him Big Yusufa. You got to drop the L on his ish. They call a nigga Usufa. Yo, I'm telling you, son, yo, I hope they safe in that building. I need y'all to get in the comments. Let me know what you thinking about this Bricc Baby self-snitching. Around the time he going on little sprees, all type of stuff, you know these people go search up these kinds of things. They got the dates. If you can find his paperwork, you're the greatest Where's Waldo player in the history. And how the hell did they get to be cellmates? Is it a play? Are they not cellmates? Are they in the same place? I don't know what's going on with it, but I need y'all in the comments. Drop a like, subscribe to the channel, share the video. Ooda, ooda, ooda. Always on go.
Come on, brothers and sisters. What are we dealing with? The man is allegedly killing a lick, but then the man is online rapping about running off on the plug, which you're not supposed to be. Then he's in there. He bugging. Because, you know, they be throwing up signs with their hands in their feet. He bugging. In the Burberry store with the Burberry on and all that. Listen, bro, I'm not saying you ain't getting money, but the way the people put things together, it's like, yo, listen. Oh, no. That's the proceeds of this. That's the proceeds of that. Like, listen, let's say you was allegedly selling drugs, right? And they run down on you. Allegedly, now they running down on you because they're like, yo, you was doing this thing, right? Now you got all these jewelry and all this shit and this clothes and all this stuff that you got. They already trying to make that to be part of the things that you done bought with the said proceeds of what you got, you know. So don't ever get that twisted. This is how people work. This is how people look at things. You could have had all gifts. You could have been running around, got mad gifts from a person, gift from a woman, something. Who knows? No. That is proceeds from drug stuff. So you already know how it goes, man. But yo, listen to me. Salute to everybody. It's about to break down. It's about to break down. Because it's a lot of miscommunication out here on these YouTube streets. So we got to get into this. Because I'm not one to be just speaking my mind and just going out my mind on stuff. All right. We are going to be getting into some of this as well. So I do want to start to read on this right now. I don't want to wait. Take time. I want everybody to drop likes when we're doing these reads. This is CUFFY GATLING's waiver of indictment plea hearing. Okay, this is the exact plea. This is how, you know, they say he was caught up with the 2 bodies, but then they say, damn, how you got 2 bodies, but then now he got 2 strap charges. Now he had the rat. You know what I'm saying? Some people's on the line saying that. You know what I'm saying? I hear everybody talking. I hear people talking. You know what I'm saying? So what I do is just follow the talks, go into the crowds. Nah, step out the crowd. Let's go find the paperwork that explains exactly what happened. And this is his plea. Any deal or whatever that the government had made with him, this is in this right here. This is exactly what the hearing you have when you're waiving your indictment. That's saying like, yo, you're not going to appeal this. You ain't trying to sue or nothing like that. Regardless of what, we about to make this plea that we about to make. And when CUFFY makes the plea, what he does is actually save them about a year and change worth of time on the trial, because the trial was going for so long already. Okay, this trial was going on forever and ever in a day. All right, the people was in jail waiting for trial like 4 years, 5 years. Timothy Rush, his co-defendant, was the person that was he had the most pre-trial detention. You know what I mean? So that's how come when I read his paperwork. So on my channel, I've read all their paperworks. I read Timothy Rush, Lorenzo Gibb, and I've read some parts of Andre Rush, which is Timothy Rush's brother. He's the one that supposedly did the unalivings of Theodis Howard and Terrence Morgan. All right. I also did a read on Terrence Morgan. It shows you the news report, all of that, what happened. It also shows you that when he was unalived at that time, first of all, he was going to a clinic. All right. And when he was going to a clinic, he was ambushed. And when he was ambushed, he was with his sister and I think his niece or some family. And he was ambushed and he was hit like 7 times or so. Right. And they say in the report it was like 3 people allegedly, but then remember it was an unsolved case for a while. And then the next following year, they did like an anniversary for him. And they was talking about how his unaliving was the 30th unaliving of that year in St. Louis. You know what I'm saying? Theodis Howard, because Terrence can't be Howard. Terrence got to be Morgan because there's only one Terrence Howard. He's talking about F. Diddy. Chill, Terrence. We're going to get to you later. But yeah, with Theodis Howard or whatever the case may be. So yeah. So we went into a little bit of that. So I just wanted to update y'all a little bit with the minds, right? Boom. So now when we get into this now, what a lot of people are making a connection, they're trying to say that Cuffy snitched with this, right? I don't want y'all to just run with what I'm saying to say, oh shit. No. What the connection that they're trying to make is that when Theodis Morgan is unalived, all right? Allegedly he's alive by 3 people. Okay. So the 3 people allegedly are Andre Rush, all right, who also pointed him out. They say in the paperwork that we be reading, they say that he pointed him out. He pointed out Theodis Howard, that day when he was walking to the clinic. He pointed him out. So he was in a car. So the paperwork alleges that he was in a car and Cuffy also allegedly was in a car, in a waiting car. Okay. And after the whatever, when he pulled up, so Cuffy was basically they're saying he was on scene and seen the unaliving happen, allegedly. Okay. So this is part of his role. Not only does he have a leader's role and he's a leader and the organizer of at least 5 people, Cuffy, this is the way they hitting and they're going for Cuffy. All right. So not only did they do all these things, so boom. So now we got Andre Rush. Andre Rush is the guy that ended up confessing in the case. Timothy Rush had a lesser role because in the reverse sting opera, he was a part of the duppy. He wasn't a part of that. But as far as the reverse sting, he got caught up in the DEA reverse sting with Cuffy and Lorenzo Gibbs. They got caught up in that because Cuffy met an agent who was acting like a drug dealer, which he met from CS2, which he met from Tammy, which he met. So it all stems back to Tammy in the end. But the same agents that he met was putting together a deal in Memphis. And this is where the drugs are supposed to be. They're supposed to go to Memphis and go pick up the work. You feel me? But the same agents that he was dealing with as well with the Memphis reverse DEA sting, because it's a reverse sting, because the sting is usually I'm got the work and then the DEA come by for me. But it's a reverse sting because they're acting like they got the work and then I'm going to act like I'm coming to buy it. And then now I'm going to get caught in the conspiracy charge. Okay. So they do that and it's successful. They set up something with Cuffy for 2 birds, 2 heroin birds. You know what I'm saying? So like, yo, boom. We're going to give you the 2 birds. That's 110,000 for the 2 birds, 55 a piece. Boom. Then we also going to give you an Escalade. That's 50,000 for the Escalade truck. So that they got a secret compartment in the Escalade truck. So then therefore you can use that to stash the work. So you're like, boom, bet. So at this point, Cuffy is, they say in the paperwork, I'm talking about all paperwork in my head. I'm not reading nothing on that screen right now. I'm just talking in my head, just updating y'all before I even get into this. You know what I'm saying? So as Cuffy's dealing with this, you know what I'm saying? This guy, he's telling the guy, they say Cuffy's bragging to the guy, saying that I run St. Louis and I can move any kind of work you want me to move. And the agent, Figg dealer, he brags back saying like, yo, my car, like he worked for the Scartels, the Schmexican. So he like, nah, my Scartels, we could provide anything like that. So you ain't got to worry about it. Boom, boom, boom. So then that's how they come into the deal, whatever, the 2 keys, whatever. Escalade, Memphis, boom, go pick it up, boom, 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 boom. He sent Lorenzo Gibbs and Timothy Rush to go pick it up, boom. I think they both driving AVs, boom, right? They get there. I think they felt funny when they got there because the agents told them how to get to the location, boom. But when they got there, the agents were saying like, yo, do you want us to show you the secret compartment box? And then Lorenzo declined. Timothy, I don't think he wanted to see it. Lorenzo ended up asking the agent, like, yo, can one of y'all give me a ride to the airport? The agents declined. So boom. So you're like, all right, cool. So now Lorenzo gives his last scene walking to like an IHOP or something like that. But Timothy Rush jumps in the car with the secret compartment, supposedly, allegedly, right? Because I don't know if they even seen the work. Tell you the truth, they probably never even seen the work. So boom, right? Because that's what Cuffy was alleged in some motions that I could show you about later in time, right? 2000 something, I could show you motions that was explaining some of that. But look, boom. So now he back on the road, coming back from Memphis, between Memphis and St. Louis, Missouri, and he got pulled over by Highway Patrol Timothy Rush, which is Andre Rush, who did the Slavin's brother. So boom. So they book him. So remember, that's why his role is a lesser role. He was just a driver in a DEA reverse thing. Feel? So boom. So now they do the drugs. So they double back and book Lorenzo Gibbs because he had an IHOP somewhere doing whatever he doing. Right. So boom. So now they got them both booked. So now obviously Cuffy know that they booked. So however Cuffy get in contact with the same agent dude that he think is a dealer. So either agent dude hit him or he hit the dude. But if the agent really smart, they see, you'll probably wait till Cuffy hit you, right? Because you don't want to throw up nothing. You just say, let me see what he gonna tell me. Obviously, right? Boom. So whatever they talking and whatever they trying to figure out what the hell happened. So he like, yo, listen, the agent is telling Cuffy like, yo, look, I'm down 110,000 plus the 6 plus the 50 for that. So that's 160. So you in debt right now with the Mexican snails. And you know you don't want to owe the Mexican snails, not even a penny. You know this. It's real. So boom. So they like, yo, let me get some bread. So Cuffy like, I ain't got no bread. So they're like, yo, let me get 5,000. Like, I ain't got it. He's like, yo, bro, let me get a card or something. Because you got the card took. So let me get a card or something as collateral or something, bro. So Cuffy said he didn't have a car because they said at the time the car he was using as a trade-off was a Toyota Camry and it had 120,000 miles on it, right? So boom. So now he's like, yo, boom. All right, man, you're going to have to work it off then. So Cuffy like, all right, for no matter, I can work that off. It's nothing. Boom. So he's like, yo, I'm going to give you 10 keys of coke now. Remember, the first 2 was for heroin. Just the 2 was $110,000 that he owed. So now I mean, like, yo, I'm going to give you the 10 yays. You know what I mean? He like, all right, fucking, I'm going to take the 10 yays then, fuck it. Because I mean, look, you owe this Mexican snarl 160 right now, bro. Them niggas will come do you for nothing. You know this. So he like, yo, fuck it, yo, all right, cool. I'm going to do the 10, boom, 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 boom. But at the same time, so they doing the deal for the 10, supposedly. But at the same time, while they doing the deal for the 10, the agents had did another deal previously that day with somebody else because all of the work that they dealing with is all fake work. Let me mention this. The heroin that they went to go meet that they got locked up for was sham narcotics, fake work. They probably never even seen it with their eyes. They probably told them, yo, it's in the compartment box. Y'all get ahead. That's it. And they bagged for conspiracy. You know what I mean? So even the 10 bricks and the 5 extra bricks that they end up saying, yo, that they have 5 extra bricks from some other thing, they said, yo, look, I'm going to give you 15. Fuck it. We just give you the 15 bricks. And then you just work it up and give us what we give us. Right, boom. But it's all fake work. It's all imaginary work. It's sham narcotics, sham cocaine, sham heroin. So now what they do is now when they lock you up, they convert their fake drug weight. So now me and you is the feds and the people, right? And we're talking. All we got to do is talk about a deal, and that's conspiracy alone. We don't have to get drugs. We don't have to put it in my hand. Cuffy's in jail for no drugs, no guns, no money, no nothing. Okay? Yes, the unalivened bodies happened, but was it directly to him? To him, it's really word of mouth and hearsay. You know what I'm saying? Because Andre Russ confessed, and all of these things which tied them in to having to confess to something or to have to plead, at least not to confess, but to plead guilty. You know what I'm saying? Because he was fighting it, even through the Tammy, all of that. Cuffy's the one who exposed her as the rat because his previous lawyer that he had, because Cuffy had a couple of lawyers on his case at the time. And his previous lawyer that he had filed motions to suppress things. And in one of those motions, an attachment was released. And in that attachment, Tammy's profile and names or whatever the case, where she lived or her workplace or whatever the case, came up in all of that. Okay. So now we understand the reverse DEA thing. So we understand that the fake work, the imaginary work, all this is imaginary. Ghost guns, ghost drugs, ghost money, ghost everything. So now the imaginary ghost drugs in the reverse DEA sting. So let's say it's 17 bricks, right? Because you got the 2 bricks of heroin, right? Then you got the 5 or more cocaines because they said the deal was for a 10. You were supposed to take the 10. And then we was throwing you an extra 5 on top of the 10. Feel me? So let's just say that's 17 bricks, whether you want to say it's 12 or 17, whether he took the 10 or he took the 15. Remember, you never had nothing. You never had no drug to sell. It's just a deal. So whether he took the 10 or the 15, but he did take the 2. We already know that. So boom. So now what they do now, they took all of the drugs, this fake drug, this thing that we were just talking about. It's not even real. We can't smell it, sniff it, nothing with it. They take the fake drugs. They convert the fake drug weight. Let's say it's 17 kilograms, right? Let's say 17,000 kilograms, right? Let's say it's 17 keys, right? Of drug weight, imaginary drug weight. Now they convert it to weed weight. They use the weed scale weight to convert it, and then they convert that drug weight into 5,000 kilograms of real cocaine or more. So now this is why when I read this paperwork, when you see the 5,000 kilograms or more, this is what it is, because this is the work that was caught up in the reverse drug stick. We understand that Tammy was doing all kind of crazy things from the very beginning. I did all these paperwork reads on my channel. The OIG report with her and Keith. They making love and all type of shit. They in hotel room sharing suites. Niggas in the room, Keith. Allegedly, niggas in the room. But it's in the paper. I can say allegedly. Niggas in the room. Nigga said he slept in the room with Keith. Keith talking like he ain't sleeping in the room with a nigga. I don't know, Keith. I don't know, bro. To each his own, bro. To each his own. But all I want to know, allegedly, did you bump into Will and Jada, allegedly? In a little swingers thing. That's all I'm saying, Keith. Get mad at me, bro. Did you bump into Will and Jada, man? Did you have the mask on it like this, nigga? You had your card on your name tag on it? There's your name tag on, bro? Your name was Chroma. And Tammy was with you. Her name was Chrome Dome, allegedly. Dolphin Neck. Allegedly, Tammy. Leave me alone. Leave me alone, Tammy. I told you call me. You ain't call me. I want somebody to go through. Allegedly. But yo, listen. I don't mean to slander nobody or nothing, but we're just doing comedy here, man. It's all comedy, man. It's all comedy. But yo, look. So we got to get this breakdown up. So I done got you to speed a little bit. Let's get into the read and let's see what exactly took place. Right? So boom. This is where we're at with it. Everybody drop a like this in the building with us. Salute to everybody. Dionne Gatling. So you understand that, right? Boom. This is the waiver of indictment plea hearing, right? This is the plea and the hearing. So we're going to, that in the beginning. Okay, let me just show you. Boom. So it shows that the defendant present. Hold up. Gee. Right. The defendant's present. Hold up, right? Hold up. The defendant's present. All right, cool. So now this is the back and forth between the court, right? Miss Trog, the court. You know what I'm saying? This is defendant. This is the first time the defendant speaks here. Okay? Right there. Bang. So we understand he says good morning. So they're gonna break it down to him. So some of these things is going to be, because right now in the beginning, they trying to establish competence. See, did anybody force you to do this? Like, are you doing it on your own free will, your own volition? All of these things like that. Because remember, you're about to go into a plea. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, some people have change of hearts. You know what I mean? Some people have pleas and they have change of hearts. So that's not a far-fetched thing to have a change of heart, bro. You know what I mean? I want everybody to hit the poll. I want everybody to drop a like. And everybody to subscribe to the channel now, because we're going to be doing a lot of these reads. I haven't forgot about this Cuffy thing. I've been doing this stuff on the Big Meech. I'm on the Big U. I still will be doing that, but I have so many things to do with this Cuffy Gatling case that I haven't even uploaded mad stuff. I just wanted to wait till they run a course and just let everybody just do what they're doing, because it just shows that some people and people that's doing it just want to talk about the Tammy, the Cuffy, and all this other stuff. I get it. But I've been getting into other parts of this case, Keith Chroma, old cases, this, that, Jack Carvey, your mama named Gertrude. I'm on her. Don't care. So, you know what I'm saying? We're going to understand what's going on in the whole thing, period. You know what I mean? We're not just doing it just to talk about Keith and Tammy and Chroma and Meech. And I mean, we need to understand what the hell happened, who in this thing, bro. This is what it's all about. So salute to everybody. That's why I'm going to every level. I've done videos on Tamara Gatlin, Cuffy's daughter, all kind of things, man. It's just layers to these situations. I ain't got no force in the race, no side to the story. But if we all gonna get into a story, then we gonna get into a real side of a story, bro. This is a people's real lives, bro. I'm not gonna be up here fluffing to you and just be doing 1 or 2 papers and reading to you 2 papers and act like I'm gonna do an hour show on it. You're not gonna get the information. You're gonna leave my channel not retaining no information, not knowing nothing. This is why I do full 45-page reads, so that you can get the information. No matter if it gets the most views to me, you get the view. You know, you're going to see and say, okay. And when you see the paperwork, you can add that to your view. I don't tell nobody to think nothing on my channel. You just get the truth in your head, which is the paperwork. And then you can make your own assessment. Say, okay, cool. I was thinking that, but look, Uda showed me this. I still think that, but now I most definitely, or maybe I don't feel, you know what I'm saying? But when we get the paperwork, you'll know if you, I mean, if you really believe something or you don't. That's all I'm saying, bro. So what I'm saying, bro. And some people don't want you to have the information because they want to fluff you around, bro. That's what it is. That's it, man. They just want to fluff you, bro. Straight. So listen, now we're going to get into a read. Okay. So counsel, it is my understanding that Mr. Gatlin is present today for the purpose of consenting to the filing of a superseding information and that pleading guilty to the superseding information. Is that correct? Mr. Raleigh, yes, judge. Okay, so they're going to go into that back and forth because this is what he's there for, right? So we ain't going to fluff with that, right? So they're going to say, so Mr. Gatlin, I'm sure that you understand I'm going to ask you a lot of questions today. If at any time I ask you a question and for whatever reason you're not sure you understand what I'm asking you, will you promise me that you will tell me that and I'll repeat or rephrase my question until it is clear that you and I understand each other? He says, yes. Y'all get the likes up. Salute to everybody. Drop a like. Let's get the likes up there on 40. Come on, let's go. I appreciate y'all. All right. We want more people to get this read. The likes, the shares, and all of those things help this to get out. Y'all are going to help the video by dropping your likes. It's free, and I need y'all to help me to do that. I'm taking my time to do this for you. I need y'all to take your time to just press that button for me. That's all I ever ask y'all for. Straight up. Right? He says, look, we're not in a hurry. The purpose of saying that is if at any time, if you feel you need to consult with your attorney, will you promise me that you'll tell me that? And I'll take a break and give you whatever time you need to consult with your attorney. He said, yes, sir. So because your answers to my questions are to be under oath at this time, the clerk of the court will administer the oath to you, sir. Okay. So now he's going to get sworn in. Okay. So through this, we're going to have some fluff. We're going to go through the fluff because it's basically the beginning part is them asking him the little questions, make sure he competent, you drinking, whatever you meant, you know what I mean? Trying to see who you is. So they say, so you understand, sir, that you've now been, let me make sure my volume is good and everything, right? All right, cool. Just make sure because I didn't had lives and I'm reading for years and the shit was all mute. Swear, years ago, I swear. So you understand, sir, that you've now been sworn and that your answers to my questions are subject to the penalties of perjury if you do not answer them truthfully. Yes, sir. Okay, the first series of questions I'm going to ask you are to establish that you're competent to make the decisions that you're making today. How old are you? 50 years old. What's the highest level of education that you've completed? A GED. So you didn't have any trouble reading this plea agreement? No, sir. Do you have a doctor or physician you see on a regular basis? Mr. Ogg, well, Your Honor, if you may, because at one point he was seeing medical people because at the end of the day, he's not only he has asthma that travels in his family, hence that his brother, R.I.P., Deron Gatlin, had passed away through asthma. So he said that's a family illness. But not besides the asthma, he also is dealing with a thing called sarcoidosis. And sarcoidosis, I know because I have a family member that's dealing with that same thing. I mean, so shout out to anybody that's dealing with sarcoidosis. You know what I'm saying? And it's a real thing, and it's a disease that affects 1 in 100,000, every 1 in 100,000 people. So you may think it's rare, but many people have, and I have a family member that is actually going through that too. So shout out to anybody. So it goes through that. He was taking prednisone and things like that. He was prescribed prednisone for the sarcoidosis. You know what I mean? So boom, it can show you that. As you can see, look, I'll scroll down so you can see that. But I already know these things from not only this, but other paperwork. I've already read this, right? So boom. They ask him if he's prescribed any medications, whatever the case. Because, you know, if you prescribe medications, you might be saucy. You might be a little drunk. I mean, they might be, you know what I mean, off the meds. You can be talking. You're about to take a plea right now. Then people say, nah, I was on medication. Nah. People use all these things to go back on what you say. We watched Tammy try to go back on her whole affidavit that she used that initially got the Title III warrant to lock up Cuffy and to bug his phone and make his phone target number 1. Then she went back against those things and tried to take it all back. You see what I'm saying? So, and she's just an informant. You know what I mean? So imagine a person that's in the case and that's actually doing the jail time. Come on, let's think about this. So boom, right? So they go into a boom. So look, when you take it, does that affect your ability to think clearly? This is why they're asking them that. You're like, nah. You're like, okay, any other medication? I'm asthmatic, so I take steroid and albuterol inhaler, right? If that's the pump, the albuterol inhaler. You know what I mean? My ex, shout out to her because that's the reason why I know all about albuterol. Right? I mean, word. My son's mom. So look, right, as needed on a regular basis, on a regular basis, okay, and those medications affect the ability to think clearly? No, sir. Okay, any other medications? No. All right, so they go through that. So we're going to get past the fluff. Okay, medications and all that. Are you drunk? Medicine, alcohol, last, whatever, 24 or nothing. Okay, so then they say the court, they don't have no reason to doubt his competency, right? And then they say, Mr. Riley says no, Ms. Trogg says no. So the court finds that he's competent to proceed with the filing of whatever he's filing. Okay. So then they say, I'm going to ask you some questions now, sir, about your right to be indicted, but your decision to consent to the filing of an information. You understand that you have a constitutional right to be charged by an indictment of a grand jury, but you may waive that right and consent to being charged by an information which is filed by the United States attorney. Yes, you are. He said you're aware that instead of a grand jury indictment, the felony charges in this case will be brought against you by the United States attorney by filing of an information. Yes, you understand that if you do not waive the indictment, you may not be charged with a felony unless the grand jury finds that there is probable cause to believe that a crime has been committed and that you committed it. Yes. Okay. So you are aware that if you do not waive the indictment by the grand jury, that the United States attorney may request the grand jury to indict you. Yes. You are aware that the grand jury is composed of 16, but not more than 23 persons, and at least 12 grand juries must find that there is a probable cause to believe that you committed that crime, which that you're being charged with before you may be indicted. Yes, sir. So you understand that you waive the indictment if you waive the indictment by the grand jury, that the case will proceed against you on the information just as though you had been indicted by the grand jury. Yes, sir. And I have in front of me a written waiver, counsel. Do you know of any reason why Mr. Gatlin shouldn't waive his right to be indicted? The counsel says, no, I do not, Your Honor. Well, and you've discussed the waiver issue with your attorney. Is that correct, Mr. Gatlin? Yes, sir. I want y'all to get the like. If you haven't dropped a like, drop a like now. Salute to y'all if you're new. I'm going to get more to my reads of these. I'm going to be doing a few of these reads today. All Cuffy Gatlin. All Big Meech, I'm Big Meech, Big U, and all of them too. I'm going to get into some work with some reads with them too as well. But we need to get to that. So what I'm going to be doing is a ping pong between both of these cases. I know this case in and out. And I also know whatever is on Big U case already, I already got that all in my head. The paperwork, the proceeds, bail payments to people, the 1,500, the 1,000, the 500. I know all that in my head already. I done read all that paperwork and I read all this Cuffy, and I'm still reading more. You know what I'm saying? But when we make the correlation between the two cases, because remember, this case is new, so you can't see certain things because we haven't got to the trial yet. But when you see what's going on in the trial of this case and how it went and how the rat was going and how the deal of this case, which is Tammy, was moving and this and this and that, you can say, okay, you can see how they got the Title III. That's how they bug your phone, go through trash pulls, garbage pulls, GPS locations, poll cameras, CIs, CSs, UCs, which is undercovers. They sending at you, buying bus, reverse things. They doing everything on you, bro. They doing everything. But then that's how you see what happened here. So you can see what they got caught up into and how they got caught up into that. So you can understand how the podcast and all that's going to hit them. Add that in.
Oh, no, you can't be serious. That is some bullshit right there.
Crazy. All right, crazy. All right, cool. Listen, let me get a drink of water. Love y'all. Y'all drop like. Let me get myself up. Right. It's all good, bro. I know y'all don't want me to drink water. Y'all want me to die. It's all good, bro. Y'all want me to die, bro. It's all good, bro. I've been talking and reading to y'all all that straight. Didn't even drink a sip of water, blood. Shit, Bloods and Crips. Let me check on everything, see what's going on in the chat. All right, cool. Okay, we in the building. Hold up. Nah, man, yeah, I'm still talking about this. We talking about everything, man. What happened, man? You still talking about your peoples and or whatever you talking about, right? D Sailor? You talking about everything on earth, bro. What's wrong with you, bro? Only y'all get forgetful, man. I ain't forgetful, man. I ain't no forgetful nigga, man. If I really fuck with you, I'm gonna rock with you and fuck with you forever, bro. Straight. Period. And we're not talking about part of the case because y'all just want to call people a rat. People that says things like this call people rats. That's why they talking about that. Because they don't want no clarity for nobody and don't want nobody to get no truth. Come on, bro. You gotta stop. You gotta stop, bro. I'm doing this for people to get truth, not for people to get a million views off this. You know that, right? All right, cool then. So, and last time I checked, I ain't asked y'all niggas for $1. If you support. But don't act like I'm running you down. So slow down and take a listen and hear the paperwork like everybody else wants to hear it. It'll get me in my back because I'll cook one of you niggas in that chat. Straight. My mother's soul, nigga. Boom. It said, and you believe you understand your right to be indicted by the grand jury. Is that correct? That's correct. And did you read this document before you signed it? Yes, sir. And you went over it with your attorney? Yes, sir. And she answered all your questions? Yes, sir. Is that your signature at the top line, sir? Yes, sir. Is that your desire to waive the indictment by the grand jury and have me execute this and consent to the filing of an information? Yes, sir. So it is my finding of the waiver. Indictment is knowingly and voluntarily made by Mr. Gatlin, and I will execute the waiver. So they execute the waiver. Boom. Okay. So now I'm gonna start from here, Your Honor, and just to supplement the record and explain the charges on the information. So this is what we want us to understand. We need to understand the information. Okay. What are the cases? What is he being tried for? What is he pleading guilty to? What is the deal? What is the agreement? Who the hell is they saying that he's implicating while he's doing this? Or did Andre Rush implicate them when he confessed, which is his co-defendant, which also caught him up? So these are some of the questions that we're going to be answering as we're going down this paperwork. Okay, cool. Salute to all of y'all. Drop likes. Share the video too. So look what he says. The record explained the charges in the information. The information, now the third, so they started at the third, not the first or the second, the third superseding criminal investigation, because there's multiple, right, in this. So they said the third, what we'll refer to at least as the third superseding criminal investigation in this case, operates to Mr. Gatlin's benefit. So now they're saying like, so they say this thing right here 3 times, that this is to his benefit. They're making a plea. This don't mean that he's ratting that it's to his benefit. He's also the big person that they want. He's like a meat. They want him. They've been wanting him. The trial's going to go on for a year or 2 more. You about to save taxpayer bread. You about to save trial, and they still about to get a conviction. Give you 27 and give your homeboy 25. Andre Rush catching the 25 anyway. Timothy Rush and Lorenzo Gibbs. Timothy did like 5 years in pre-trial detention, so he did a time served. And Lorenzo Gibbs was fighting the trial from outside. He was the only one that was going back and forth the trial from outside, and he was even said to be seen around Cuffy's family and the Rush's family as well. So they still was rocking with him, even though Andre Rush's confession, they said, speaks to the brutality of Gatlin, because Gatlin was planning to clip Lorenzo Gibb, who was his friend of 30 years, not because of anything, just because he felt that he probably would snitch to people. So, I mean, this is the type of confession that Andre Rush was saying, bro. Like, what the fuck? What do you mean? It's gonna clip Lorenzo Gibbs, and they go, what Lorenzo Gibbs got to do with this, bro? They talking about we supposed to did a Theodis Morgan and Theodis Howard and a Terrence Morgan thing. So why are you going to that too? So not only is you itching, you snitching, itching. So it's just crazy. So whatever. So this is what allows him to plead guilty in a way which he's not facing a mandatory life sentence were he to plead guilty as this was previously charged or be convicted at trial. It's what allows for the disposition in this case and the parties to make the recommendation that we're going to make to the court. And the plea agreement has been agreed to by the parties. So specifically under the first superseding indictment, the defendant was charged in count 6 with a violation of 15 through 18 United States Code. They go into the sections 1513A1, boom, boom, boom. And sections 2 in relation to the unaliving of Theodis Howard in retaliation for his previous cooperations, because now when we go into this right here, he was said to be cooperating against RIP Cuffy's brother, Magic, Wani, Dionne, Gatlin. He was in a case with him, and he was said to be snitching. So this is why he allegedly got unalived. And then Terrence Morgan was alived in an alley in St. Louis somewhere, because Theodis was unalived in front of a clinic. Walk into a clinic with, I think, his sister and his niece and some family members, and he got unalived. They hit him like 7 times allegedly. Whatever the case might be. But now Terrence, now he got clipped, they said, because, you know what I mean, they just ain't want no telling or whatever the case may be. So it was just maybe just loose ends. And Andre Rush supposedly committed that one as well. You see what I'm saying? So boom. So now the defendant also was charged in count 9 of the superseding of the first superseding indictment with a violation of Title 18, the United States Code sections 1512A1. They go into that, boom, in relation to the M of Terrence Morgan now. right, to prevent him from communicating with federal investigators or federal law enforcement authorities. Both of those were punishable. Listen to me now, y'all. Listen now. We getting into the spookers. I want y'all to drop like. There's no reason why 40 or whoever, how much of us are here, and y'all not just dropping a like yet. And all we doing is reading and getting to some paperwork and trying to get to some information and get to some truth. That's it. I have a bunch of trending topics that I could be doing right now. Facts. Why am I reading right now in the daytime? Reading Rainbow. No, nigga, you read at nighttime. I'm reading to y'all because I want y'all to get the information. It's not about me. This channel is not about me. It's about everybody. Right? So boom. So listen now. They say both of those were punishable by mandatory life. The effect of this criminal information is to, among other things, is to allow the defendant to plead guilty to a single violation. See, now he pleads guilty to a single violation of 18 United States Code section, boom, 924J. Okay. So now already they're showing you what's happening right now. All right. So right now we have 2 unalivings. All right. And they said that this effect of this criminal information, among other things, is to allow the defendant to plead guilty to a single violation. So now basically they're going to take these 2 unalivings and they're going to collapse them into one thing, right? Into a 924J. And this is a weapons charge. It's a weapons charge in furtherance of a drug trafficking offense. So it's not that's like a regular weapons charge. This weapons charge will get you. This weapons charge carries a minimum mandatory 10-year sentence, but it cannot be life. So anything under life, so it can't be life, but it has to be 10 years and minimum of 10 years as well. So you could get anything in between. They could get your football number in it. So by Cuffy pleading guilty to this 924J, they could have given him 30 years. They could have given him 40 years. They could have given him 50 years because it's only mandatory and the minimum is 10 and the maximum is anything that's under life. You see what I'm saying? And he was facing the death penalty at the time for these 2 unalivings, life and the death penalty or the death, right? So they said 924J, in which both of the unalivings of the Otis Howard and Terrence Morgan's are referenced in the single violation. So now this is how they say, how you have the bodies? This is what happens. They took both of them and collapsed them into one. United States Code section 924J, which carries with it a mandatory penalty of 10 years, minimum of 10 years, not more than life though. Consecutive to all the other counts, and they ran them consecutive and not concurrent. Okay. To all the other counts in the indictment. So the effect of the superseding information, which I will go through now, is substantially to Mr. Gatling's benefit. Again, see, they say that he should be taking this deal because this is to his benefit. So some people say, damn, nigga, why they making all this stuff? I ain't never seen them niggas make that shit for me. I was in the Fed, did 15. Them niggas ain't telling me nothing, nigga. Them niggas ain't even let me see my grandmoms, nigga. Word. And people gonna say what they say. So we don't know. That's how come we're gonna read the whole paper and figure it out. Boom. Count 1 charges that the defendant did conspire and confederate with other persons, known and unknown. They're listed in the indictment within the Eastern District of Missouri between 2009 and 2015. We understand that 2009 is when he met Tammy, around this time. And at this time, he's dealing with the life rights in the movie, and he's already connected her with Louis Burrell, who's Hammer's brother, and they running around and they get Lionsgate to get the $50 million deal, and they supposed to get 20% out the deal, but Tammy flakes on the deal, and he says throughout all the flaking that Tammy did, he feels another reason why she flaked and set him up is that she wanted to take his percent or parts that he had in the life rights of the creation of the series, at least not the life rights in the creation of the series. Cuffy says he spent $250,000 in helping to create the show that we see as what we like, but they was doing a movie deal. Tammy flips on him, whatever. They go with 50. I think Cuffy says when they was trying to do a movie thing, Cuffy's lawyer stepped in, I think, to block it in some way. I think Cuffy has some kind of angle to that because he was a part of this movie thing, I think. Because when it go into rights, I don't know how that works. So he'll correct me, y'all correct me. But this is what happened with the movie rights and all of that. Boom. So 2009, 2015. So we know that Tammy's officially working in 2009 as well. Not only does he meet Tammy in 2009, Tammy is working in 2009. She's officially a rat. She's working to bring down Terry White, who is an ex-lover of hers and who is a drug dealer, whatever the case, and she's trying to bring him down. And she's working down the river, working down the river, bro. You know what I'm saying? So she's most definitely working. It shows that Tammy testified. It shows.
On CS1, Tammy Collins testified that she became a government informant to give Demetrius Slinger a time cut. And we said, whoa, you serious? So then she further testified that he was aware of the deal. Special Agent Keith Cromer testified that Flannery was aware of the deal. Flannery just wanted to make sure that his name wasn't in any court documents.
So that's some typical rat shit. I'm a rat and tell you everything you need to know. Just don't put me on blast.
Man, listen, man, this shit's simple, man. This shit ain't that complicated, man. This nigga called me in 2013, a nigga called me. Yo, bro, what up? Yo, check this out. I got some good people, man. Yo, I got to get off this joint.
As you can see. So that's just Cuffy talking about some of the same thing with Tammy and all of these things like that. Because regardless of the fact, Tammy is what led to this whole thing. Okay, regardless of what. Tammy did this all. Straight. Okay, even leading up to the other things that he ended up getting wrapped up for. He's with Keith Cromer. Keith Cromer setting him up in this thing with the Memphis thing. The whole thing is that Tammy was killing with Cuffy on some legal stuff, no negative stuff. Tammy was talking with Keith Cromer because he was every day by her crib 6 days a week because he was making love to her, and Tammy confessed to that in the court. 6 days a week he was out of crib. Now, it's so crazy is that this whole case is crazy, man. But anyway, to commit an offense against the United States, that's to distribute and possess with the intent to distribute cocaine. And count 2, I'm sorry, a Schedule 2 controlled substance. It also alleges a quantity allegation that was 5 kilograms or more. Okay. Hold up. See if I can change this right here. Nah. Yeah, I can zoom that shit, man. Zoom. I gotta change different looks on the screen, so I'm gonna do different edits on it on the video. Hold on. It says to distribute cocaine. Count 2. I'm sorry, a Schedule 2 controlled substance. It is also alleges a quantity allegation that was 5 kilograms or more. So they're going to do a lot of this going around in circle. So I'm going to fluff through some of this. All right. That was previously, I'll go through them, reference how this correlates to the previous indictment. That was previously count 2 of the old indictment. Now count 2 of the superseding information. Criminal information alleges a heroin distribution conspiracy for the same time frame referenced before. It also alleges a quantity allegation that was at least a kilogram of heroin. Remember, I told you he did the deal for the 2 heroines, but they never got the heroin because it's fake, it's imaginary, it's just a conspiracy. They set him up, bing, got him out the way. Basically forced his hand, act like he had a debt to the Mexican plugs, and made him take like 10, 15 more bricks, which further just lit him up. Heroin that the parties conspired to possess with the intent to distribute or distribute, and that parallels count 3 in the superseding indictment from July of 2015, and count 3 in the criminal information was previously designated as count 4 in the superseding indictment. Count 3 relates to an attempt to possess with the intent to distribute 5 kilograms or more of cocaine, which occurred between February 4th and February 7th of 2013. That also alleges a strike that, and they're going to strike that, and they're going to go into the next one. Boom. So you see, it's going to keep going back to the kilogram or more, and they're going to keep. So we're going to pass by some of this fluff. Okay. Boom. So between indictment 2013, see, distribute 5 or more. Okay. Now we're going to start here because there's a new count. Now the new count, which there were previously 2 separate violations of Section 18, United States Code 924J, charged in relation to correspond with the murders of Theodis Howard and Terrence Morgan, in addition to count 6 and 9, which I've previously referenced. So we've taken, listen now, so we've taken the 2 separate 924 violations. There's a 924J and a 924C. Okay. So they said, so I just told y'all that they said they took the 2 bodies and they collapsed them into 1 count. Okay. And now they're telling you what they've done with the 2 separate 924 violations. Because remember, he's not being charged with the duppies or the bodies no more. Now he's being charged with the 2 weapons possessions. But remember, this is ghost guns. He's never possessed the weapons that they can prove. It's just word of mouth. And whatever they say, it's a conspiracy that you did possess them while furthering the drug conspiracy. And you commissioned Andre Rush anyway to go do what he was doing anyway. And he possessed the weapon anyway. So even if he ain't possessed a weapon, he possessed a weapon. They'll find a way to trap you up into the thing. You know how these people work. Salute to y'all. Y'all drop a like if you haven't dropped a like. All right. Let's get the likes up. Let's get the likes on 100 likes, 1,000 likes. Goal on these reads is 1,000 likes. Goes on any read that I'm reading is 1,000 likes. So I want everybody that's in here to drop a like that has everybody that's watching this on the rewatch. Help get this to the thousands of likes, especially if you liking these types of reads. I'm going to be doing more as well. Just drop a like on it. That's all you got to do for you. I appreciate y'all. Right? So boom. So they said they took the two separate 924 violations and alleged them in a single count. Again, to Mr. Gatling's benefit. Right? And this count alleges that between April 5th of 2010 and May 2nd of 2013 in the Eastern District of Missouri, that defendant Dionne Lamont Gatlin, aiding and abetting and acting with others known and unknown to the United States, including Andre Alfonso Rush, also known as Dirty and Dre, did knowingly possess 1 or 2 or more magnetos in furtherance of a commission of a drug trafficking crime, which can be prosecuted in the United States or in a court of the United States. That's conspiracy to distribute. Basically, this references the 4 counts that are currently charging as criminal information that I've just outlined, that he acting with others possess firearms in furtherance of all of those offenses, and in course of these violations caused the unalivement of Theodis Howard and Terrence Morgan through the use of 1 or 2 or more firearms. All right. So that's how that charges. That's what the 924J is and the 924C is the furtherance of all of these things while the drug trafficking thing. All right. So there's also an allegation that in the course of this violation, the defendant acting with others caused the unalivement of a person through the use of a firearm, which is unalivened as defined in Title 18, and they go into the code, and that defendant Gatlin aiding and abetting and acting with others, including Alfonso Rush, did, also known as Dirty and Dre, with malice at forethought, unlawfully unalive Theodis Howard on or about April 5th, 2010, and Terrence Morgan on or about May 2, 2013. Okay, so this is real. They out in the streets. So now we go from 2010. So you know that he met Tammy. Tammy's already ratting. Boom, 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 to 2010. You know what I'm saying? Now we go to 2012. We know that he got caught up in a conspiracy with Tammy August 5th, 2012. That's when he got on the phone with Fidel Suarez, when Tammy put them on the phone together. So even after that, allegedly, he called another duppy. Okay. So this is the type of people that Tammy was running around playing with, lying and snitching on. I mean, allegedly, this could have been her ass. And that the defendant aided and abetted, real shit, and acting with others, including Andre Rush, caused the unaliving of each victim with 1 or 2 or more magnetos, willfully, deliberately, maliciously, and premeditation, thereby making this offense punishable under the Title 18. Now, that's what's alleged in the superseding information, Your Honor. So, Mr. Gatlin, you understand the charges is now pending against you, sir? Yes, sir. Do you understand that? Because this is a criminal case, you have the right to be represented by an attorney at all stages of the proceedings. And if for any reason you're unable to afford an attorney, one is appointed to represent you at the expense of the United States. Yes, sir. Have you had enough time to discuss this case with your attorney? Yes. Are you satisfied with her representation of this case? Yes. The next series of questions I'm going to ask you is about your rights that you're giving up by pleading guilty. You understand that if you plead not guilty, you are entitled to a speedy and public trial by a judge or jury. Yes. And you understand that a trial, you're presumed innocent. The burden of proof is on the United States attorney to prove you're guilty by competent evidence and beyond a reasonable doubt. Yes. And you understand that a trial, the United States attorney would have to bring their witnesses into the courtroom. Those witnesses would have to testify in your presence. Your attorney could cross-examine those witnesses, object to evidence, and could call witnesses and offer evidence on your behalf. Yes. And at trial, you have the right to testify, and you have also the right to not testify. Do you understand that? Yes. And no one could suggest or argue you were guilty because you did not testify. You understand that? Yes. You understand that by pleading guilty, you're waiving your right to a trial and the other rights associated with a trial. Yes, sir. And you understand that you're not going to be in, there's not going to be a trial. Yes. But a judgment of guilty will be entered and a sentence will be imposed just as if you were found guilty after a trial. Yes. So you're also waiving your right against self-incrimination today because I will ask you if what you did, if what they say you did, you did. Do you understand that? Yes. This is where they say, I don't know. Having discussed your rights with you, sir, it is still your decision to plead guilty. Yes, sir. Has anyone threatened you? No. There's a plea agreement. If we turn to the last page, is March 31. There are 3 signatures on the page, and in the middle is yours. Is that true? Yeah, that's me. Okay. Did you read this document before you signed it? Yes, I did. Did you go over with your attorney? Yes, I did. Did she answer your question? Yes, she did. Did you believe and understand the document? Yes. Everything in there is true in the document. So everything in your plea agreement is true. Yes. Okay. Okay, so sentences won't take place for several months, but it will be made before your sentence. And what happens between now and then is a pretense report is prepared, and that report will be discussing the facts of your case and applied to the sentencing guidelines to those facts. Do you understand it? Yeah. Hold up, let me change this back again. Hold up, hold up, hold up, hold up. Hold up. Bang, right? Let's try it this way, right? Boom. Okay, so now, okay, correct. The report will also make calculations on the sentencing table to what the recommended sentences. Yes, sir. Do you understand that? You will see the report before sentencing. You will have time to go over it with your attorney. If you disagree with what's in the report, you will have a right to file an objection to that report. Do you understand that? Yes. The U.S. attorney may object to that report. Do you understand that? Yes. If there are any other objections, we will have a hearing. I will rule on the objections, and then I will make the final calculation as to what the recommended sentence is. Do you understand that? Yes, sir. Okay, we will also determine if there are any departure motions. Those are motions under the guidelines that would encourage a sentence that is more than or less than the recommended sentence. Do you understand that? Yes, sir. Now they go into it, boom, 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 white noise, pursuant to the bench. Now a bench conference is held. They go to the bench. They said, finally, sir, there is a statute that lists a number of factors I am required to consider before I can determine the appropriate sentence in your case. You understand that? Yes, sir. Let's go over your plea agreement. The plea agreement says that you've agreed to plead guilty to 5 counts of superseded information. Do you understand that? Yes. And you understand what's in your plea agreement. These are recommendations to me. I'm not required to follow what's in the plea agreement. Yes, sir. I mean, we understand, and I understand that there's a joint recommendation that I impose a sentence of 27 years, but I'm not required to follow that agreement. Do you understand that? Yes, sir. But if I sentence you consistent with that agreement, you've agreed not to appeal the sentence that I impose other than the disagreement that you might have had about your criminal history. Yes, sir. You've also agreed not to file any motions or lawsuits challenging how your case has been handled, except for a claim you may have for misconduct by the prosecutor or ineffectiveness of assistance of assistance by your attorney. Yes, sir. So you've agreed to give me, the probation officer, access to all your financial stuff. So they go into the financial things and all of that. Boom, 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 boom. Right. That's what I'm saying. This should be going crazy. My likes was up more than that. I had like 27 likes, and now they going down. It's crazy. It's weird. YouTube just does weird stuff. Right. So boom. So okay, now beginning on page 22, there is the discussion as how it's proposed. Hold up. Let me see something. Wait a second. Hold up. Let me see something. Hold on a second. Hold on. Hold on. All right, cool. It says discussion is proposed. The guidelines work in your case. They're talking about how the guidelines work in this case or whatever the case may be. Everybody drop a like. It's in the building. If you're new, subscribe to the channel. Everybody hit subscribe. I want everybody and their mama to hit subscribe. Straight. Everybody and their mother hit subscribe, and your grandmother too. Go wake up. I know she's taking an afternoon nap. Don't business. Go wake up. I tell her, said I love her. Make me some grits tomorrow morning. Thank you. Anyway. And we've converted the heroin and cocaine so that we can compare them and add them together. We convert them into marijuana weight, and the conversion results in 3,000 to 10,000 kilograms of marijuana. And that's how we determine the 32. You understand that? And that's how we determine the 32. You understand that? Yes, sir. It says it is recommended that 3 levels be added because you were an organizer or a leader or 5 or more persons in a criminal activity. Do you understand that? Yes, sir. Up to 3 levels will be subtracted from your acceptance of responsibility in a timely fashion. Do you understand that? Yes, I do as well. Okay, hold on one second. Hold on one second. Yeah, right. So boom, 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 boom. Where we at? Right. So boom. It is a result. So now look, they say yes, sir. As a result, it is recommended for those counts. The final total offense level is a 32 now. So as to count 5, the base offense level is a 43. You understand that? Yes, sir. Again, we have a reduction of 3 levels for an estimated final total offense level of 40. Do you understand that? Yes, sir. So you fully understand that. Is it your agreement with the United States that to recommend that I impose a sentence of 17 years on count 5? Okay, remember he got the one, they can been collapsed into one thing on count 5 to run concurrent to any other sentence imposed on the first 4 counts, right? Which is drug conspiracy counts, the cocaine and the heroin and the other 2 counts, right? Conspiracy. So do you understand that? Yes, sir. All right. Now, for you to have been found guilty on count 1, the United States attorney would have had to been proved you reasonable doubt. And should I back up? I'll back up. There is no agreement as to what your criminal history is or how it is to be treated by the guidelines. Do you understand that? Yes. So for you to have been found guilty on count 1, the United States attorney would have had to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that you and others reached an agreement and came to an understanding to distribute a mixture of a substance containing cocaine and voluntarily, knowingly, intentionally joined in that agreement either at the beginning or at the later time it was still ongoing. And when you got involved, you knew what the purpose of that agreement and understanding was, and the quantity of the cocaine was more than 5 kilograms. Do you understand that? Yes. So if you don't believe the U.S. attorney could prove those things beyond a reasonable doubt, you should not plead guilty. He says, okay, so they go to count 2, reasonable doubt with the heroin, right, containing the heroin. And if you don't believe that they can, the 1 heroin or more, they like, yo, if you don't believe the U.S. attorney could prove that, you shouldn't be proving, pleading guilty. You understand that? He said, yeah, boom. So they're going to count 3, same thing, boom, with the attempt to possess, to distribute the mixture, boom. They go into the mixture again. Remember, he got the 4 counts, boom. Do you understand that if the U.S. attorney couldn't prove this, you shouldn't be pleading guilty to this? They say, no. Y'all drop a like, y'all should subscribe to the channel. Count 4. Okay. The only attempted to possess, intention to distribute the cocaine, boom, 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 right? So 5 or more kilograms, same thing, right? They converted the drug weight from all of the fake drugs to that. I told you. So if you don't believe the attorney could do this, you shouldn't. He says, yes, I understand that. As to count 5, remember count 5 is the unalivens and all of this stuff, right? The first count that he got the 17 years for. But then he got count 5s in these things too. So boom, right? So as to count 5, the United States attorney would have to have proved beyond a reasonable doubt that about April 5, 2010, you committed the crime of conspiracy to distribute the heroin and cocaine as charged in count 1 and 2, aiding and abetting others and only possessed a firearm. See, now here coming to the 924J, right? Not only possessed the firearms, because remember, this was charged as 2 bodies before. Now it's being charged this way. See what I'm saying? Not only possessed 2 other firearms in furtherance of those crimes, aiding and abetting others, and only discharge the firearms, which goes into the unalivings, right, of those crimes, and you aided and abetted others, knowingly use the firearms to commit the unaliving of Theotis. Okay? Because remember, we got Theotis and we got Andre Rush, his co-defendant, who also confessed to this. Do you understand that? Yes. So on and about May 2nd of 2013, you committed the crime of conspiracy to distribute, boom, 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 more. Okay? Stop here. Aiding and abetting others and aiding and abetting others actively knowingly did use a firearm to cause the unaliving of Terrence Morgan as well. So they go into Theotis and they go into Terrence. So do you understand that? Yes. And if you do not believe that the U.S. could provide that or reasonable doubt, don't plead guilty. Said yes. Okay. Does this agreement contain all the promises made to you by the United States? Yes. Did they make any other promises that they didn't put in writing? No. Has anyone else offered you anything or given? No. You anything to plead guilty? No. Are you pleading guilty to protect someone else or cover up someone else? No. I'm going to ask the assistant attorney to tell us the facts in the U.S. Attorney's Office believes it would have been able to prove, and they're going to tell us the facts that the U.S. attorneys would have been able to prove if there'd been a trial. You know what I'm saying? Beyond reasonable doubt. This is what they felt that they could prove beyond reasonable doubt. The U.S. attorney felt that they were going to prove this. So, and Mr. Gatlin, and if you would listen carefully, because when he's done, I'm going to ask you if you did what he says you did. Okay? So we're going down the road. We in the forest, yo. Trying to see if it's snitching, if it's not, right? So let's get down to it. All right, cool. So now we understand that the judge before I may, because remember, they was charging him with the life and the death and all this other stuff. So this Mr. Riley comes in and says, listen, consistent with our agreement, I would ask to withdraw the previously filed criminal information seeking enhanced punishment under Title 21, which that imposes a 15-year mandatory minimum as to what would be counts 1 through 4 in this case, consistent with our agreement. I would ask for a leave of the withdrawal of the document. He breaks down the document. Boom. Right? Okay. Boom. Thank you. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. So with regard to the evidence in this case, Your Honor, following is a representative of the sample of the evidence of the government would present if we were to proceed to trial, beginning at the time prior to or during 2009 and up to and including July 16 of 2015, which is the date of the first superseding indictment in the Eastern District of Missouri and elsewhere. Multiple defendants at the various levels within the supply chains conspired to possess with the intent to distribute and to distribute controlled substances containing heroin and cocaine. Boom. So now, all right. Okay. I just want to make sure we're getting all this. Hold up. Let me just make sure we're getting all that. All right. Defendant Gatlin knowingly joined the purpose of that strike that. The defendant, Dionne Gatlin, knowing the purpose of that agreement and conspiracy, knowingly joined it. And Mr. Gatlin was the leader and organizer of the Gatlin DTO, the drug trafficking organization, which consisted of 5 or more people. And the amounts of mixtures of the substance containing detectable amounts of cocaine attributable to the reasonably foreseeable to the defendant. Gatlin is more than, hold on one second. Anyway, right? Oh boy. Listen, man. Right? So boom. I had to tell my little sister. I had to tell my sister something. So boom now. Look now. So boom. So now defendant Gatlin is more than 5 kilograms. Boom. They go into the mix of the substances. Boom. Now defendant conspired with individuals including Fidel Suarez. So look, they still ain't forget about this guy. Fidel Suarez, Lorenzo Tall Dog, or Reno Gibbs, Terrence Black Morgan, and nephew who was like a distributor, who was another drug dealer associated with Terrence Black Morgan and the Gatlin DTO drug trafficking organization. Andre, also known as Dre and Dirty Rush, and Tim, his brother, also known as Professor Rush, and others to comprise the Gatlin DTO. The goal of the Gatlin DTO was to obtain bulk distribution quantities of controlled substances, including cocaine, heroin, methamphetamines, and marijuana by purchasing and substance in large quantities to receive bulk discounts. In turn, the Gatlin DTO would then distribute the illegal controlled substances primarily within the Eastern District of Missouri at higher prices in order to make the cash profit on the sale of the cocaine, heroin, methamphetamines, and marijuana and to other persons for further distribution or consumption. The plea agreement itself outlines some of the different roles that Gibbs, Terrence Black Morgan, Andre Rush, and Timothy Rush, the roles that they played in the agreement. That included the storage of the distribution of narcotics by all of those defendants, but Gatlin also in the relation to Morgan. Morgan managed to separate distributor. He managed a separate distributor named Nephew, and I'll touch on that as we go through. But there's a sub distributor basically that was managed by Terrence Morgan. With regard to the specific events of the conspiracy, the evidence would show that Mr. Gatlin effectively sought and negotiated with sources of supply of illegal narcotics outside the St. Louis area during the course of the judicially authorized monitoring calls. Okay, listen what they said here. Okay, they said that he went into this, he actively sought and negotiated this source of supply of illegal narcotics outside the area during the course of the judicially authorized monitoring calls and communications from the telephones used by Gatlin. Investigators learned that Gatlin was obtaining methamphetamine, heroin, cocaine, and marijuana from Fidel Suarez. Okay, on October 12 of 2012, there's a series of text messages that were intercepted between devices utilized by Mr. Gatlin and Mr. Suarez. In the electronic text messages, there are coded portions which outline the negotiations for shipments of multiple pound quantities of methamphetamines from Suarez to Gatlin in St. Louis, and discussions about the shipments and other types of drugs. Among those, there's discussions as set out in the plea agreement at page 9 and 10. Let me know from the Suarez to Gatlin. Let me know if you want to mess with the shutters. This is the coded messages. They're saying, hey, bro, need some shutters. Go cards. Suarez. That's Gatlin reply. Suarez responds, are you sure? Give me a number. A number, what I'm getting. Are you guys on a roll with it? Cards, you think? And there's some code, but some direct references. Gatlin responded, we can do a lot, but they sell for 13. It says 1,300 an ounce. That's 1,300 per ounce. Suarez responds, give me a price whole. Same size like first. One turnaround time. Same size like first. These are references to their pre-existing relationship. At the fifth line, 5620, Suarez says, I need an answer. 5621, Gatlin says, we'll make 20,900. How much will you give me? Gatlin says, 3 to 4 days. Suarez replies, need an answer. Gatlin says, I'll give you 16 a pound, 16,000 a pound. Suarez replies, 16 for the Dodgers. The record should reflect that Suarez, a California, Los Angeles-based source of supply, 16 for the Dodgers and the balance for the gold cards. Gatlin replies, cool, let's do it. Suarez replies, okay. And then are you sure that they're going to be 3 days? Gatlin says, let's say no longer than 5 days. Among the other things, the intercepts support the conclusion that Gatlin and Suarez were discussing pound quantities of methamphetamines and that Gatlin agreed to pay $16,000 per pound. This is an average price for what an average price per pound of methamphetamine in the Midwest was in the relevant time frame. There's also allegations to that timing of the shipment and payment. There's further intercepts that the parties discussed Chinese food and that the reference to China white heroin and Gatlin and Suarez communicated about landscape. The landscape reference was to marijuana and the mollies. In 2012, let me just make sure how we looking. Boom, cool. Change this back. Could we get into the thing? Yeah, we get into the crux of this thing, bro. Yeah, now we getting into the you know what I mean? Salute to everybody. Drop a like in the building. A like is free. Just drop it. I mean, simple. Don't be a hater for the rest of your life. Detective, because every day is short, you know what I mean? You might die a hater. That's why you got to show love every day. Imagine, God forbid, you die a hater. Why you hating on people, not showing people love? Sad, bro. Sad. There are several intercepts detailed in the plea agreement where Gatlin communicates with Terrence Morgan. He references, remember they unalived him too, allegedly. They references other conspirators, including Gibbs, which is Gatlin's co-defendant, who is referenced as Tall, professor, who is referenced, or as Timothy Rush, who is referenced as professor. So Gatlin explains to Morgan that he would tell Gibbs, that Gatlin would tell Gibbs that Morgan was looking for him. Morgan asked Gatlin if he discussed with Gibbs as far as us working together on that job site. Gatlin said he had talked to him, and Morgan said that all I'm trying to do now is just to keep working. Gatlin said that he had talked to him, and that Morgan said that all I'm trying to do now is just keep working on the job site. A job site is a reference to Morgan's continued drug distribution efforts at his residence on Gravois in the city of St. Louis, from which Morgan routinely distributed illegal controlled substances on behalf of the Gatlin DTO. In October of 2012, Gatlin was intercepted in the numerous coded drug-related conversations with Morgan, in which Morgan related various events of the conspiracy to Gatlin, including the status of a payment by other distributors in the Gatlin DTO, such as nephew Gatlin, and Morgan routinely referred to the illegal narcotics as paint, referencing old paint, a new paint. They also discussed debts owed by other conspirators, including Professor Tim Rush and Dirty Andre Rush. Morgan routinely distributed methamphetamines for the conspiracy. So he basically gave them work and distributed work for them. He distributed. He basically was selling work with them. There are other communications that are relevant with Gatlin is advising Gibbs that other conspirators are looking for him, and these are also detailed in the plea agreement. The intercepts are illustrative of Gatlin's role as a leader in the conspiracy and a coordinator. There's surveillance conducted throughout the investigation. In addition to the Title III intercepts, the surveillance included placing Gatlin at the residence of Andre Rush in the 3600 block of Phillip Street in St. Louis with other conspirators, including Morgan and Timothy Rush and Andre Rush. Gatlin later met with Gibbs on one of the specific instances. There are two reverse operations conducted by the Drug Enforcement Administration in this case. On February 7th, Gatlin attempted to acquire 2 kilograms of heroin from a purported cartel source of supply in Memphis, Tennessee. On February 8, 2013, Gatlin attempted to acquire 15 kilograms. That's the 15 members had to deal for the 10. They threw the extra 5, 15 kilograms of cocaine from the same purported source of supply, which was an agent. He wasn't a source of supply. This time, the delivery was to occur in South Street, in South St. Louis. At this time, the delivery to occur in South St. Louis. So the first one was to be in Memphis. They bagged them up in Memphis, and then they did this other deal was supposed to be in St. Louis. With Cuffy supposed to pick up the work from this one. The defendants at the time were unaware that Gatlin, the defendants, which is Timothy Rush and Lorenzo Gibbs, Andre Rush, anybody else, had arranged for deliveries with an undercover law enforcement officer. Gatlin believed that he was negotiating the deliveries with a cartel-affiliated source of supply. As detailed in the plea agreement on page 13, Gatlin met with an undercover investigator on February 4th of 2013 in Atlanta, Georgia, to arrange for the delivery of the 2 kilograms. See, they already got him bagged up in Atlanta, Georgia. I don't know why he's still out here with this Atlanta, Georgia, because this is where Keith Cromer is, and this is where all that's going down at. This Keith Cromer business. Right. So the heroin for the Gatlin drug trafficking organization, and the heroin was, of course, bound for Eastern District of Missouri. And during the initial recorded meeting, Gatlin made a number of statements that are detailed in the plea agreement that indicate his knowledge and intent and prowess as a drug dealer. He asked the investigator, do you do tar or do you do white, which was a reference to brown heroin or white heroin. The UC said that he could provide brown, which Gatlin stated that's perfect. Gatlin explained that he could do 2 to 3 bricks a week if the quality was good, referencing that the quantity of heroin, each brick being a kilo, of course. And Gatlin explained that we specialize in cocaine. We used to doing hundreds, man. We're some of his quotes that he was saying. He also stated, I can move a lot of H. H was a reference to heroin. Defendant Gatlin explained that I'm going to do a whole H a day if it's good. And that's a reference to distribute an entire kilogram in one day. Gatlin stated words to the effect that he had buyers with money to buy 500. That's a reference to buyers that could buy 500 grams or a half of a kilo of heroin, and 250, which is 250 grams. Now, Gatlin, toward the end of the meeting, explained that this has been a beautiful trip, and this is what he's been looking for, man. Psh, crazy. While he's setting up this deal with this undercover agent guy, bro. Okay, he's setting up a deal with this guy. This guy got into the shirt and curlies right now, acting like a dealer. He's an agent. And at the end of the conversation, toward the end, Gatlin said, yo, this is a beautiful trip, man. Yo, and this is what I've been looking for, man, to get this work, which is a fake deal, which is an indictment, bro, which is a RICO. Nuts. And it's said about Keith Cromer, which all comes back to Tammy Cowan's. Sad. On February 7th, agents conducted a reverse sting operation in which Gatlin enlisted Tim Rush and Lorenzo Gibbs, like I told y'all earlier, to meet a purported cartel source in Memphis area to exchange Gatlin's Toyota Camry, like I told you, for a Cadillac Escalade equipped with a hidden compartment, like I told you, containing 2 purported kilograms, which they probably never even seen. Crazy. The terms were that the heroin would be provided or fronted at a price of $55,000 per kilogram to Gatlin, with Gatlin provided the Camry as collateral. Now, Timothy Rush and Lorenzo Gibbs made the trip to Memphis on November 7th. They met with the undercover. Both Timothy Rush and Gibbs declined the instructions on how to open the compartment and stated that they would get instructions on how to open the trap when they would return back to St. Louis. And during the evening hours, so that's how come when Gatlin was trying to fight against some of these things, he was saying like, yo, this is a fake sting. They forced my hand. They made me get these other drugs because they locked them up for the 2 bricks, and then they acting like they was Mexican cartel people and got me to get the other 10 or the 15. But this is why the whole thing he's saying like this. So during the evening hours of February 7, 2013, Missouri Highway Patrol investigators stopped Timothy Rush on Interstate 55 south of Sikeston. Sikeston, it could be. Timothy Rush put the phone on speaker. So he already, this is how Guffey knew that they got back, because he already just put the phone on speaker. He didn't have to say nothing else. They heard, yo, this is freeze, and they heard the police talking. Smart, right? So Timothy Rush put the phone on speaker. On the speaker function, this was ostensibly, this is to notify Dionne Gatlin. And it's indicative of the experience level of the conspirators to say, like, they already on time, and look, so you already know he's already warning them if they hot. This is the type of shit you're supposed to be doing. Defendant Gatlin later that evening contacted the undercover and stated the words to the effect that he, meaning Gatlin, hoped that the compartment was tight. So now Gatlin hits him like, yo, bro, I hope that shit was tight, son. They booked my mans in them. Yo, I hope that compartment was airtight. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know what I mean? Because they about to be breaking down that car looking for that work, right? So he's like, hope it was tight. And he also stated that Timothy Rush was solid, like he wasn't a rat. He wouldn't tell. Long time guy. Now, on February 18, 2013, there was a second transaction that culminated on February 18. This time, purported negotiations was for 15 kilograms of cocaine. During the course of that communication, as detailed on page 15 of the plea agreement, Gatlin reassured the undercovers by stating that, I'll tell you what, if you get this mother F, man, you'll be happy. You know what I mean? If you get this motherfucker, man, you're going to get it in here, man. I can make that up, brother. Like, he can get the money back. I can make that up. I can make that bread up. Like that couple of bricks that they talking about, the 110. I can make that up. First time you in here, I can make that up. You just send your guy down here. I'll put them up. You put them in some place wherever they at, and he could just sit right there and just wait. You put him in a crib, a hotel, wherever he at, and just chill. And I'm just gonna get the money up, and I'm just gonna give you the bread, the 160,000 for the 55 for each brick and the car. And here, of course, Gatlin was referencing his ability to move loads of narcotics quickly. So Gatlin on February 14th of 2013 stated to the undercover that I need that other thing, brother. I need it bad. Y'all got to get it in here one time, brother. The second deal was for 15 kilograms of cocaine, but Gatlin prior deal also stated that I was trying to get back on the H page, and that's the heroin. When the undercover inquired regarding quantity, he said, I'm asking for how much you gonna need. Gatlin replied, shit, bro, all you could give me. And the other thing was that the previously and the other thing, he said, and the other thing that was previously referenced in the H page was a reference to the heroin. So on February 18, 2013, the investigators conducted a reverse operation, which is detailed on page 15 and page 16, in which the undercover had purported a commercial truck to deliver, a truck driver who was going to deliver the load. Timothy Rush had contact with the undercover, and they arranged for a meeting at the Hampton Inn in the vicinity of the Butler Hill Road, Interstate 55, at Interstate 55. The task force officer arrived at the Hampton Inn. He also observed Lorenzo Gibbs operating a white Chevrolet Impala, who appeared to be conducting a canvass of the area before Gibbs parked at a gas station in the area where he could overlook the parking lot in the Hampton Inn. Rush arrived and met the task force officer who he thought was a drug dealer. Rush was in the process of approaching the task force officer to take possession of the large duffel bag of drugs. This is when he was taken into custody. Investigators contacted and detained Gibbs. Remember, Gibbs had walked off when we went. They went and booked him. The investigator will also judicially authorize wiretap at the time in which they monitored conversations. Later that evening, between Andre Rush and defendant Gatlin, Andre Rush coordinated a meeting. He coordinated communication to Gatlin with the events of what happened regarding the detention of Timothy Rush, which is his brother, and Gibbs. And as set forth in the plea agreement at page 16 and 17, agents conducted surveillance at a Starbucks in the vicinity of Grand Avenue on Highway 40, at which time they observed Gatlin arrive in an SUV type vehicle. Gibbs arrived in the same type white Impala that he had during the reverse operation. So he was driving the same car in the reverse operation, and Gibbs and Gatlin exited their vehicles and walked back to the back of a building, had a brief meeting. They quickly returned to their vehicles, and Gatlin drove off. The investigators terminated the surveillance so as to not jeopardize the investigation. Now, the parties have an agreement as to the relevant conduct in this case and the conspiracy amount of the controlled substances in the conspiracy attributable to the defendant as a result of his conduct, and the conduct of the others reasonably foreseeable is not more than 3,000 kilograms, but less than 10,000 kilograms of marijuana, based upon the conversion of the quantities of cocaine, heroin, methamphetamines, and marijuana attributable to the defendant. I'm going to transition and talk about M's on the live-ins. Gatlin's organized the M of Theodis Howard. This is detailed at page 18 in the plea agreement. The M occurred on April 5th, 2010, and this M was retaliation for Howard's previous cooperation in the federal narcotics investigation against Deron Wani Gatlin, his brother, RIP, who was Mr. Gatlin's brother. Gatlin recruited the participant and drove to this is what he got now, right? So not only did Gatlin recruit them, they say, this is what they're alleging, and he's about to plead guilty to it. So ain't no allegedly, nigga. He's about to plead guilty to it. So I'm saying what the hell I'm saying. Doesn't matter. Right? He pled guilty to this. Gatlin recruited the participants and drove the shooters to and from the scene of the unaliving. Okay. The defendants, Andre Rush, positioned him in a manner to observe. So they put the car wherever he at so he could see everything that played out. So he could see how it approached the Grace Hill Medical Center, where I said it happened in front of his niece and his sister or whoever was there. Observing Howard, Andre Rush knowingly identified Howard so that Derek Bub Clemens and Raymond Rambo Jones could shoot Howard to unalivement with the firearms. Okay? So we saying, because look at these guys, this is what they making claims on the thing to say that these guys are not in this case. So why are these guys even in here? Right? We understand that Andre Rush even confessed. Cuffy's about to plead guilty and say that this is true. So why would he be saying this is true? People are saying that's snitching. Why would you say that's true? I don't know what information they have already. I don't know if they came to him and told him like, this is what you did, bro. Because we got Andre Rush's whole confession and everybody said that this is what you did. So this is what it did. But remember, when I went into the case of Derek Bub Clemens and Raymond Rambo Jones, which I'll go through the breakdown, see what the hell's happened with that, right? But look, this is where we're going into where they saying that he snitched. So y'all look at this, and we're just going to get to it together, right? It's cool. So upon observing Howard, Andre Rush knowingly identified Howard so that Derek Bub Clemens and Raymond Rambo Jones could oot him and unalive him. Derek Bub Clemens at Howard, causing him to fall to the ground. then Jones, then Ott Howard while he was on the ground. After Uten Howard, Derek Bub Clements, Jones, and Andre Rush ran to Gatlin's Volkswagen where Gatlin was waiting on them. Officers responded to the officers of the St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department responded to the facility up on April 5th, 2010 at approximately 3:57. It was the daytime on the Lavin. Caught him in the day. Caught him like 3 something. This building was located in the 20 whatever in the street of St. Louis and Eastern District. Theodis Howard was lying on the ground and or sidewalk in front of the facility, so he just made it there. He sustained several wounds and he was pronounced on the scene. They clipped him. Investigators recovered 6 45 caliber shell casings and 6 9mm casings consistent with the use of 2 firearms. The cause of unaliving was the wounds, and the manner of was a homo. So prior to his unalivement, victim Howard made detailed and voluminous statements against many of the conspirators, including statements implicating Deron Gatlin. On February 21, 2006, Howard was sentenced to a term of 72 months imprisonment after the judge granted the government's motion for a downward departure. Based on Howard's cooperation, the plea was entered in cause and not cause number, probably case number, probably right. In the same case, April 27, 2006, Deron Gatlin was sentenced to 210 months of imprisonment for his involvement in the conspiracy to distribute narcotics. In 2010, the victim, Theodis Howard, was released from custody and was serving the remainder of his sentence at the St. Louis Community Release Center damn, they got his ass as soon as he was on. He didn't even get a chance to free up fully, bro. That nigga was on. He still was on papers, bro. Right? Probably in the halfway house. With regard to the murder, with the unalivement of Terrence Morgan on May 2nd, 2013, Gatlin directed and encouraged Andre Rush to oot and unalive Terrence Morgan. This was to prevent Morgan, a member of the Gatlin DTO, from cooperating with federal authorities' independent investigation. That was going on now. Gatlin drove Morgan and Andre Rush to the location of the unalivement, instructed Andre Rush to clip him, and then drove Andre Rush from the scene of the unalivement. This unalivement was to further the activity of the drug trafficking conspiracy. Shortly before the unalivement, Gatlin learned that he was under investigation by the DEA after his then attorney, not Ms. Trog, met with agents of the DEA. The DEA agents provided some information relative to the investigation described herein to the attorney who represented Gatlin at the time. Based on his lawyer's communications with DEA, Gatlin believed that he would be facing drug trafficking charges. Gatlin was concerned that Morgan might cooperate with law enforcement. The day of the unalivement, Morgan was dropped off at Andre Rush's residence. Morgan told Andre Rush that the DEA had contacted him and they were asking about Cuff, which is a reference to Mr. Gatlin here. Andre Morgan. Strike that. Andre Rush and Morgan went to a nearby park where they met Gatlin and Tim Rush. Morgan told Gatlin about the DEA contacting him, and Gatlin and Morgan had a private conversation. Gatlin told Andre Rush they were going for a ride and invited Morgan to go with them. Prior to going for a ride, Gatlin asked defendant Andre Rush if he had his buddy with him. That's a reference to the firearm with him. And Andre Rush then retrieved the firearm, a revolver, from a nearby location. Gatlin drove Morgan in front seat, Andre Rush in the back seat, and the party stopped eventually to allow Mr. Morgan to urinate. Gatlin turned to Andre and stated the words to the effect, "Go get him out of the way." Andre Rush exited the vehicle, entered the alley, walked behind Terrence Morgan, and clipped him in the back of the kufi. Crazy. Straight. Nigga was a straight Uda. Terrence was, son, Andre Rush, straight serious about it, son. I showed you his picture. Dead serious. So Terrence fell to the ground. Andre Rush then hit him a couple more times in the head area. He's not playing with you, son. Straight cheese with you. Andre Rush returned to the front passenger seat. Gatlin drove off. Andre Rush later discarded the firearm. Andre Rush strike that. Gatlin agreed to pay Andre Rush, but did not pay him. Damn, son, you ain't paying for the unaliving, bro. Come on, Cuff. Come on, bro. This is why this niggas is cuffing and telling niggas is telling, bro. You gotta pay niggas they bread, Cuffy. Come on, brother. Consistent with the events described herein, on May 2nd of 2013, agents responded to the alley in the rear of 2500 California, where they discovered Terrence Morgan lying on the ground in the alley between 2504 California and 2503 Ohio. Morgan was pronounced unalive. The cause of the unalive was the wounds, and the manner of the was a homo. And that would be the evidence, Your Honor. Okay, so Mr. Gatlin, is what the assistant U.S. attorney said true? Yes, sir. So you understand that as the counts 1, 2, 3, 4. So you're saying it's all true. Even the Rambo Jones thing is true. But then people are saying that Rambo Jones was never charged in this, and Derek Clemens ain't never charged in this. So why would you be agreeing that they had something to do with this, regardless of what? So some people are saying that that's snitching. Right. So this is what the case we're getting into. So the imprisonment to which the counts you're pleading guilty is not less than 10 years, but not more than the rest of your life. Yes, sir. And as to count 5, the potential penalty of the imprisonment, it also is not less than 10 years, but not more than the rest of your life. Do you understand that? Yes, sir. And the maximum fine in the counts, they tell you through 4 is $10 million. And as the 5 is 250. This is all the fines. Shut. Crazy, bro. Millions. You could be sentenced to a maximum term of imprisonment on each count, assessed at the maximum fine on each count, and all are added together. Do you understand that? Yes, sir. And in addition to any terms of imprisonment that may be imposed, a period of supervised release in not less than 5 years, then go into the supervised release. Supervised release. Is there any restitution? No, judge. Will require a special assessment amount of $100 per count. That's it. So they got a couple $100 per count. So you got like 5 counts, whatever, $100. You know what I mean? You in jail. Yes, sir. As you know, at the time of your sentences, at the time of sentencing, your attorney and the United States attorney will be making recommendations to me about your sentence should be, but understand that I'm not required to follow any recommendations. He says, yes, if I sentence you, if the sentence is more severe than what the attorneys recommend or more severe than what you had to hope for, that is not a reason for you to seek to withdraw your guilty plea. Do you understand that? And do you understand that by pleading guilty, you may lose the right to vote, that the right to hold a public office, the right to serve on a jury, and the right to possess a firearm? Yes, I understand that. And it says, do you understand that federal system parole has been abolished? And if you're sentenced to prison, you will not be released on parole. Okay, so Mr. Gatlin, do you understand that as possible consequences of pleading guilty today? So yes, after all the things that we've talked about, is it still your decision to plead guilty? Yes. Does the attorney go to state court? Okay. And it says accepting the guilty pleas. It said no, Your Honor, no, Your Honor. How do you plead on count 1? Guilty. How do you plead on count 2? Guilty. How do you plead on count 3? Guilty. How do you plead on count 4? Guilty. How do you plead on count 5? Guilty. Based on Dionne Gatlin's statements under oath in response to my questions, I find that he is competent to enter pleas of guilty to the offenses charged from count 1 through 5 of the superseding information, and his pleas are made knowledgeably and voluntarily and have a basis in fact that contains all the elements of the offenses charged. Therefore, I will accept his plea and will enter the judgment upon those pleas. Sentencing is set for the Friday, May the 17th at 11 a.m. Any other matters for the court's consideration today? Said no judge. Ms. Trog, no judge. The court, very good. We'll see you then. And this is when the case was concluded. So this is what we have here, y'all. This is what we have here. Okay. I had to get that readout, bro. Shit, man. It's 2 hours, man. I had so many things I want to do. I want to eat. Trust me. But I just wanted to get the readout. Salute to everybody. All right. I just wanted to get that readout so that we all can know what the hell's going on with that. And we can see how the case was, the unalivings was collapsed into the one charge, and then the 2 weapons charges was collapsed into one, the Title 18 and all of those things. I mean, I need for everybody to make sure they subscribe to the channel.
All my niggas from the hooters, all my niggas turn shooters, all my ops turn rackets, all my niggas turn shooters. On the internet, you ain't been stuck in a computer.
Make sure everybody subscribing to the channel. Make sure everybody dropping a like. Make sure everybody is turning on the notification bells. You know what I'm saying? Let me see what's going on. Oh, you're 80 in the building. Oh, what's up, Chris? What's up, Chris? Shout out to y'all, man. Shout out to you too, Chris. Most definitely shout out to you, Queen. Most definitely Polly. You know what I'm saying? I'm most definitely interested in us having a conversation, like I told you, Chris Nicole. Shout out to Chris Nicole. And make sure y'all go check her out. You know what I mean? She do different kinds of content. But yeah, you know what I mean? I just seen her do a video on the Loose Cannon, on the Wack, on all of that, on the Big U type of, you know what I mean? She was really coming at it from an SKG point in perspective. But I like how she was kicking it. I most definitely like how the sister right here was kicking it. So I'm most definitely gonna be doing a show with her. So yeah, I look forward to that. We're gonna do it in a couple of days or so. We're gonna get our schedules right. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna have a conversation about some dope stuff. And that's what it's all about. It's all about us building, us connecting in real time. It's not about me being over here building a channel for myself. You know what I mean? I'm building a channel to build with people, for us to build with people, for us to help lift people up as well. I'm trying to help lift people, monetize people's channels, all types of things. I'm helping people, SEO, behind the scene, everything that I can do to help people. Trust me, my likes and all that shit don't even reflect how much things and how much people I'm helping. And I do it all for free. I'm not charging nobody nothing. I don't say, yo, give me that $1, yo. Yo, son, I'm doing a fundraiser. Y'all all donate and I'm going to go give it to some kids. I don't come up with that dumb shit. I just do what I'm doing, homie. Sit and just look good as I'm doing it, bro. Salute to that. Handles, man. Hey, Jesus, man. Great. Shout out to Sinatra Cash, man. Lee Hall in the building, man. You already know, man. Shout out to y'all, man. Wax Dog always in the building, man. Shout out to the bro Wax Dog. Shout out to everybody, man. Make sure everybody's following Instagram. Subscribing to my channels. That's linked to my channel. My on-go comedy, my on-go news. I need 5 more people on thing on both. Make sure you're the 5 people that's there, because I'm going to take the channel, and those first people that are subscribed to it are going to be among the first people that I'm going to be helping us to monetize or do anything that I'm helping. You got to be subscribed to my channels. If you want my help, you're going to help me. I've been helping y'all for months for free, for nothing. Okay, cool. You will help me. That's it, bro. That's it, brothers and sisters. That's how it's going to work, man. We have to help each other. We have to have a symbiotic relationship and energy. It's how we have to do it. It's how we have to do it. It's the only way that's going to change anything. Everybody live by themselves. Okay, cool. That ain't shit, nigga. You got everything on the island, nigga. You would change it and exchange it for a little ass boat to get off that damn island and go meet some people and go have some fun. Stop, bro. Don't be dumb. Don't be dumb. Be smart out here. Be smart. Salute to everybody, man. I love everybody. Pick up the people that I bigged up. And subscribe to the channel. You already know, man. I'm Uda. I'm on go. You already know we on go together, man. And that's the only way to go, man. And that's the only way to be on go. Is together. Okay? Wade in the water. Yeah, nigga. We gotta be on go together. So salute to everybody, you all right?
All my niggas turn shooters. All my ops turn rats. All my niggas from the Uda. All my niggas turn shooters. All my ops turn rats. All my niggas turn shooters. On the internet, you ain't been a threat. You been stuck in a computer. Show me the proof. All my niggas turn shooters. All my niggas from the Uda. Welcome to the Uda. All my niggas from the Uda. All my niggas turn shooters. All my ops turn rats. All my niggas turn shooters. On the internet, you ain't been a threat. You been stuck in a computer. Show me the proof. All my niggas turn shooters. All my niggas from the Uda. Welcome to the Uda. All of my niggas insane. They tryna catch a mistake. Young niggas putting in pain. It in the game, all for the game. Niggas ain't playing for nothing. Went in school, laying it bang. My little nigga kill my little nigga. Full-time job not to kill niggas. Jump off the porch of the field, nigga. You was in the house, I'm a field nigga. No fuck boys around real niggas. Been a drug dealer since a little nigga, huh? Sick of the kilo, they'll kill a nigga. Fuck how you feel, nigga. To get some kilos, I'll kill a nigga too. Throw that rock like I'm Montana. Good head, raise my antennas. G49, not San Fran. Beat the box with my bandana. Then I dip set like I'm Santana. I'm in UK like that Montana. She bring me money, you press her. You gotta jug and finesse her. I give a dick that'll change her life. You leave her change on the dresser. Shorty a wetty, a wetty. That pussy ready, get ready. Don't wanna get ahead of myself, but I want the head for the Getty. She said she fuck with the Uda. I tell her open the Chevy. All my niggas from the Uda. All my niggas turn shooters. All my ops turn rats. All my niggas turn